2-minute warning. One minute. All right, 8 seconds. What is up, y'all? All right, everybody hit 5 if you can hear me. Just trying to make sure everything's going all right. Man, we got a lot of people here. This is so exciting. And we have a delay, so this is going to be all right. I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to keep filing in. My name is Stony, and I'm an old fat guy who, well, we got a lot of new people here, so I'll just tell you what's going on with me. Basically, I'm a gambling addict, and I gave that up to ride BMX. And on August 25th will be 4 years since I've gambled. I stopped gambling, and I got myself a BMX bike, and here we are. So this is kind of a big day. A lot going on. I'm going to start doing this pretty regularly with some kind of high-profile BMX names because, I mean, just to be honest, the world is in a bad place right now and we need positive energy. And if this is what I can do to bring it, it's what I'm going to do. So, all right, we got that. Just so you know, on Sunday night, this coming Sunday, May 5th, no, this Sunday night, Dave Volker will be my guest at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, so you're going to want to come back for that. And, all right, let's make some magic happen because I know you guys are excited to see this guy. He's the reason a lot of us are here. If Bill hadn't come around and made the movie, there's a very good chance none of us would be interacting like this. And just the fact that we are and can, we owe this guy just a huge thank you for all he's done for the sport. Let's bring him in, Mr. Bill Allen. That is not Bill Allen. Oh my gosh. All right, hold on. Let's see here. Oh, this is embarrassing. Oh, I had such a great intro. And the ice source. Okay. This is embarrassing. All right, everybody sit tight. We went through all this and everything worked great. All right, hang tight. Hang tight, Bill. I know you're there and I know you're hungry to talk to these fans. Okay, remove that. Let's see, NDI source. Source name, AT&T Skype. All right, we've got a picture. Let's put you down here, put me here, put you up there. Mr. Bill Allen.
Arrived. I was lost in cyberspace. I couldn't find you.
You were lost in cyberspace for a minute. How you doing, friend?
I'm much better now, man. How are you?
I am doing as long as there is a life extinction level pandemic going outside. I haven't thought about it once today because I've been so excited about talking to you. So I'm great.
Awesome. Awesome. Good to hear it, man. Good to hear it. It's no longer one day at a time. It's like one breath at a time.
Right, right. Wow. So how you doing? Like, we got a lot going on in the world, and you're an actor, and everything is shut down. How are you?
You know, I'm really well. I've been lucky, beyond lucky, that my immediate family hasn't been affected by this. I do know a couple of people that have gotten sick,
Mm,
but I was able to run and hide in northern Idaho for a while, and now I'm back. And I just LA is my city,
mm,
and love her, and she's going through a real tough time right now.
mm,
But personally, I'm doing fine, and a lot of my friends are doing fine. There's a lot of fear out there, and I just want to dispel that because
mm,
it just does nobody any good. It's a proven fact that you are cognitively 40% or more effective when you have a positive attitude.
absolutely.
So I think you see it play out in your own life. If you're a chess player or a video game player, you know when you get frustrated, you're not as effective in your job. And that certainly applies to our real daily lives.
Hmm.
That's, I guess, my main point today is whatever you have to do, get in that positive state of mind. And of course, that brings us back to the subject of bicycles, because I would imagine most of us that are participating in this right now are bicyclists and enthusiasts. And there's nothing better to get you out of a funk state of mind than to get on two wheels and just get out there. Am I right?
Absolutely. Well, have you been riding your bike? Well, let's go back a little bit. There's so many things I want to touch on here because you're a very multi-layered person. You're an actor, you're a musician, you're a pilot, and you're an author. What am I missing? What else do you do?
Uh, well, I do ride BMX, and this is new to. For instance, I wrote a book that's coming out again, and when I wrote that book a few years ago, I wasn't really a BMXer, and now, according to Martin Aparicio, I'm a real BMXer, and if he thinks I am, that's all I need to know. I've taken a
Absolutely.
bunch of lessons with. I go out with the guys, certainly to HB Tuesday when that's up and running. And so a lot of my very closest friends are BMXers now. So that's what changed. Yeah.
Wow. So I see you've been flying around on, I don't know what it's called. It's like a go-kart with a parachute with a fan.
Ba- Yeah, it's called a powered parachute, but it's little more than a two-stroke engine with a propeller
Hmm.
and a parachute as the wing. So I've been doing it for about 20 years now, and now we've got the equipment and are putting a schedule that has been bumped down the road, but we're putting it back together. I'm doing an interview show from the back seat of the ultralight. So we'll have some GoPro cameras around. I'll be able to talk and listen to my co-pilot, so to speak, and we're going to put some really great athletes and entertainers back there, and I'll be able to interview them like you are with me, except we're going to be cruising over the California countryside. It's going to be great.
Wow, how cool is that? How'd you come up with that?
Super cool. A friend of mine, Tim Patrick, came up with the idea, and it just it fuses a lot of my passions together. show business and flying, and certainly extreme athletes who, a lot of these guys are my friends now, so I'll be able to bring them on board too. So it's a real thrill for me, just because I love the sport so much, and be able to share it with my friends is my favorite thing. I go up there, I go up there and FaceTime anyway when there's nobody in the back seat, because like I said, it's a lot more fun to share that experience,
Right.
and have people up there.
Did we lose your sound?
No,
Okay,
I'm
we're
still
good.
here.
I thought I cut you out. All right, cool. Well, like I was around you at Hell Track in Texas, and the conditions were just miserable. It was 100% humidity. It was probably 105 degrees. You were in a tent wearing jeans, and I believe you had a hat, and I think you had on 2 layers of shirts. And
Yeah, I think I was the person there in blue jeans. Yeah, that was me. That was me, the guy in long pants. That was wild.
but the thing is, like, as miserable as of conditions as a meet and greet could have been, that was it. And I watched, like, I'll stand back and watch things, and you were interacting with every single fan, and you were just like the most delightful person to like meet and greet with. Like, and we have a lot of mutual friends, and I have never heard anyone say a bad thing about you, but you're in one of the most cutthroat industries on the planet, acting and or just the entertainment business. Does being such like just a good guy ever, does that work against you?
Well, listen, yeah, I think people can take advantage sometimes of somebody who overextends themselves, and I've been victim to that. But as far as health track goes, I grew up in Texas, so the heat didn't bother, and and there's nothing I love more than meeting my fans, and you were there. It was such a special weekend,
Mm.
and something we had been forward for a long time. So to have the people that showed up actually be there, of course, Bart and Martin and Ed and some of the athletes and the fans, it was remarkable. You know it because you were there, and I can't I can't tell you how many people I've run into afterwards going, "Oh, I can't believe I didn't make it,"
Right.
and it was bad for the fans who didn't make it, because it was really a special weekend.
Well, there were when I had talked to you that weekend, and everyone wanted to know the question, hey, is there any chance of a DVD or a Blu-ray or just some kind of an official release? And to quote you, absolutely not. And things have changed now, and you want to tell us a little bit about how that came into fruition?
Yeah, I'm very excited to say that the filmmakers, especially Robert Schwartzman, the original producer's son, has teamed up with Vinegar Syndrome. I guess they put out a lot of classic DVDs, and they have transferred the original 35 millimeter print of Rad into 4K. I've seen it. It looks amazing, and so they're available for pre-sales. I'm sure a lot of people know this. May 22nd, so it'll be shipping out later that week if you go to vinegarsyndrome.com, and there will soon be a digital streaming rollout.
Hmm.
You'll more about that if you check into my fan page. And a lot of these screenings, like we were supposed to do at South by Southwest and Alamo Draft House, those will all be rescheduled. And there's just going to be a rebooting of this thing because it's now more popular than ever, especially since the announcement has occurred and people have started talking about it. Now they're stuck at home on their phones, and the buzz is really kind of surprised me. Hold on. Sorry about that.
All good.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of excitement coming because of the DVD and the eventual streaming release, and there's going to be some live events happening. It's just there's nothing scheduled yet, definitely, because they're not scheduling anything yet in LA, right? Or a lot of states.
So when South by Southwest was scheduled, and I was first thing I did was I hit up Jamie Kaiser. I'm like, hey, buddy, we got to go to Texas.
Right,
And he's
right.
like, no, I got a old school reunion that weekend. I'm like, oh. And then right around there, right around when we were talking about it, you were hearing Corona, like whispers of it. And then the closer it got, the more concerned we were, like, I don't know what's going on here. And people waited decades for this movie to come out and
Yeah.
for just the absolute unthinkable to happen. Like, this was like going to be, how do I say this? Just the Red Army. It's what everyone's been waiting for, but it had to hit you especially hard for this to not work out like it was planned.
Listen, of course I was disappointed,
Mm-hmm.
but you only had to turn on the news to see people really suffering through this thing, really suffering through this thing. So it really minimized my disappointment because I get to interact with fans. Everything's be okay. You know, I think one of the things we can take away from this hideousness is what's important in your life, what's really important in your life, and it for me, it became family really quickly. And so making sure that my wife and my immediate family was okay, and my friends who are my extended family. This And so, yeah, I was disappointed, but it was certainly tempered by people who are really, really suffering through this thing. So I know we're not through it yet, and likely there's going to be a lot of financial ramifications through this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe we got no choice except to get through this,
Right,
you
right.
know, and so. Yeah, my disappointment is turned to gratitude for what I have.
All right. Let's switch gears a little bit. I want to ask you about your band, the
My
Pipe Fitters.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of different outfits I play with at Hell Track. Uh, Lucky enough to reunite with the Pipe Fitters. We normally tour with Lou Diamond Phillips. He couldn't make it out that day,
Mm-hmm.
and these guys I've known since the late '80s and had a pretty good run through the '90s. My current band, the Catsarinos, I'm with a really seriously talented blues outfit, and we play regularly down in El Segundo. Of course, not during these times, but we have a lead barrel house piano player by the name of Ron Tansky, and he's one of the best in the business you'll ever hear. So I'm just very lucky that I still get to gig and make a little money at what I love doing. And the music, there's nothing more healing to one's soul than playing and listening to good music.
Right. So, do you have plans to jump back on the road for concerts, or is that still in the works?
There's a lot of stuff that's in the works. As far as the band is concerned, we're trying to get some recording done, and yeah, I think particularly the pipe fitters are going to have another stab at craziness. So I would imagine in the next year we're going to be hearing more from these guys. But it's like acting or piloting or BMX. It's part of what I do,
Mm-hmm.
and so certainly we'll be doing more. I never give up on what I love.
All right. Let me tell you a little bit about the Rad Army. I posted, like, I was pretty sure it was going to get a little crazy. So I waited until the day of to start advertising this. So it was probably about 3 in the morning. I put the first photo on my Instagram just to get a feel for what would happen. And from that second on, my phone is useless. The Red Army came out in droves. They shared it. And then people shared those shares. And then other people
Oh,
shared those shares. And then
oh,
I have never seen this kind of internet traffic on Old Fat Guy BMX. And you are the reason for that. So thank you very much, sir.
thank you. That's really cool. Yeah, the Rat Army is a special group of guys, man, and it's a very limited circle, and I try to keep contact with everybody and interact with them. But it kind of is what it what it implies is just a really tough group of individuals who are into this thing, you know. So to have a rallying point and upcoming events and the ability to interact with people that I really dig is it's great, man. We have a great time.
All right, that's very cool. So your book is coming out in hardcover now.
Crazy, right? It's usually
How?
the other way around. I've been in soft cover now for 6 years, but I got contacted by the largest audiobook company in the world, Beacon Audiobooks. So it's coming out on audio, and everybody asked me, do I narrate it myself? And the answer is no. I asked them to get James Earl Jones to narrate it, but apparently he was busy that week. So I did the intro, but they're getting an actual professional to actually read it, and then it'll be in hardcover, in your bookstore, in your library, and on Amazon and everywhere. And because of this, I think Rad Release, it's really kind of blown my book up, and people, all I'm doing now is fulfilling book orders. I sell signed copies of it. So you've read it, Stoney.
I have not read it, actually. Believe it or not, it would have been the right answer. I have not read it yet. I apologize. I listened to the alternative commentary of.
Okay.
I have no excuse.
All right. Okay. I don't. But you will, and you'll kick yourself for not read it before this interview, because there's some really interesting stuff that I won't go into now, including a subject that we talked about at Hell Track, which was Brandon Lee. And he seemed to make an appearance while we were standing there talking there in the heat. That was pretty wild. But I kind of go into my past with some of the actors and musicians I was hanging out with when I first hit town, and kind of how I maneuvered my way into show business, and what that was like. And of course, I give a lot of lip service to Rad, and talk about that a lot, because that's mostly what people are interested in. But what they don't know, I think, is pretty interesting either, and you wouldn't know about it had you not read the book. So it's full of personalities that went on to unbelievable fame, and some of the guys who are already famous, like Michael J. Fox or Tom Cruise or Brandon Lee, some of the guys who I knew when they were already up and running and kicking ass, and I knew people before they hit fame, like young George Clooney and I did our first movies together, and Brad Pitt and I did a TV movie together, and remained friends for a while after that. So it kind of just gives you an inside look at Hollywood and what that was like for a young actor. Because for most people, I'm Crew Jones, and that's fine, but I actually have done other things. So that's why I call it my rad career, because I've had a pretty rad career.
Mm-hmm. There are extra chapters in the hardcover?
There are excised parts, because I read through the book and I'm like, I can't say this. So I took a couple of paragraphs out, literally just a couple of paragraphs, and probably added 15 pages or so. So yeah, if you've read the book, there's more. And I find people have read it multiple times. I'm really proud of it, Stoney.
Just so you know, everyone in the chat room is giving me hell right now for not reading it yet.
Good. All right, it's all good. He'll read it, guys. He promised.
I promise. I absolutely will. There's something I really am curious about. In 2015, you did Heroes of Dirt, and it got nothing but great reviews from what I've seen, but it didn't, like, the theater, it wasn't in the theaters very long. Like, was that political?
No, it's just nature of the beast. A lot of the filmmakers, you spend every dollar you have making it, and then there's very little left over to market it. So unless you have a big marketing team behind it, It's very hard to get a large audience. That was the same thing with Rad. It got very little press at the beginning, but once it hit home video, then people could find it. So it's similar, I think, with Heroes of Dirt, that it did have a theatrical release. It was under publicized, but now that it's on video, people can actually find it and stream it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right.
So it's a good movie. And the lead guy in it is an actual BMXer who does 99% of his stunts. He's amazing.
All right.
Joel Moody. Yeah.
Joel Moody.
Yeah,
so
he's an Austin boy. Yeah.
Are you still involved with that film? Like, is there any like tours, meet and greets, or things planned for it?
No, not as far as I know. I think they're getting some wider foreign distribution, but it's one of those things. There's not many BMX movies that pop up, and people will search my name or whatever and find it. So it's kind of I would say it's Rad influenced. Certainly, it's its own thing, and I thought they did a really good job.
All right, sounds good. How you feeling? You want to take some questions from the chat room?
Sure, dude. Let's walk this sucker.
Let's walk this sucker. All right, this is their questions, not mine, but there's a reoccurring question, and I know you get it all the time, but everyone is asking it. How was ass sliding with Lori?
Man, how come I knew that was coming? Not as exciting as it looked. I mean, that water was so unbelievably cold. It was just melted snow. But in context of the movie, it's like, why did he invite Christian on their first date to an open sewer? Who does this, Sony? Frankly, who does this? I can imagine doing it as a child because I did similar crap as a child, but to try to impress the new girl in town by, oh yeah, well we're gonna have to dodge the turds as we go down the slough into the river. Whatever, it kind of worked. Yeah. Where they got the name for it, I don't know. There's a lot of questionable phrasing in that movie, like going balls out, and let's walk this sucker. I don't even know what that means. Do you?
Well, I assume it means let's get this done. I assume.
I did too, but I showed up the first day of shooting and I didn't want to ask anybody, what does this mean? Because I thought it was a saying, right? I thought it was a thing. No, they just wrote it for the movie, so I just went with it.
All right. There is a chatter named Courtney Private Howell says, my husband is building our daughter an 82 mini mongoose since she's only 8 years old, included with flute rad pads. So that's kind of cool.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
That was one thing I kind of didn't understand. Like, we were at Hell Track, and everywhere you looked, there was a Crew Jones bike. And like aftermarket, there's Crew Jones toys, there's Crew Jones shirts. Why isn't a distribution company seeing that there is a buttload of money in this and getting on board with it?
I think they finally are. I mean, 99% of that stuff is all bootleg. So they've kind of run rampant with it, but apparently there's going to be some official rad merchandising in your future. So look forward to that.
Okay. I'm not even kidding. Half these questions are Lori.
Give me your.
Well, let me ask you this. She has I don't want to sound negative, but was there a situation with rad fans that they rubbed her the wrong way? Because I've heard time after time of people meeting her and she was just nasty about rad for some reason.
Sorry to hear that. My only answer to that is I've met a lot of kids named Crew Jones. I've never met any named Aunt Becky.
Okay.
So, no, she's famous for Full House, but I don't think it has the lasting power of rad, obviously.
Okay.
There's not going to be full house conventions in 35 years. I just promise you that's not going to happen. You know, people are not going to be super excited about the hologram release of Fuller House. It's just not going to
Oh
happen.
boy.
And I'm not saying rad is better than that. I'm just saying rad has got staying power that very few movies or TV shows do. So I'm sorry to hear that. I've heard it before, and all I've got to say about it is the kind of hole in the matrix, because she's selling what, a cheap test score labor for T-shirts in the basement of Cochrane High. So, I even asked the writer, I'm like, how did you know? What, you have a crystal ball, dude? What's up with that? So not too many people have brought that aspect up.
Okay. I was just curious. Maybe the fans rubbed her the wrong way. All right. Let's.
I think you'd have to ask her, but you're not the first to say that.
All right. Let's see what else is going on in here. A gentleman named Rob Barber says, "It's my birthday today, and my wife got me your number plate. Just need you to autograph it, please."
All right. Well, look me up on Facebook. We'll talk.
Well, how does that work if someone like a fan wants a personal item autographed? Do you do that?
Yeah, I do that sort of thing. Yeah, I can give out my email at the end of the interview, and people just send me stuff, and I sign it and send it back to them. So uh, I haven't gotten any live people yet through the mail, but pretty much everything else I've signed. Bikes and plates and photos and T-shirts. And a lot of people have memorabilia they want signed, so I try to help them out.
There is a gentleman, Mark Drown, wants to know how many times did Mike Miranda really fall off that ramp?
I think, what did they show him doing it 3 times, right? And the impressive thing about that was Mike actually heard that Jose got a certain amount of money every time he had to do his backflip. And so he actually went to Hal and said, I want to do stunts. So they kind of wrote him in, and to do those 3 stunts. It's a great part of that Hell Track sequence. And that was all through Mike's initiative. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good lesson. He was on the set and he's like, this is passing me by. I gotta really make my mark. And so hats off to Mike for really stepping up, making that happen.
All right. A gentleman, are you okay with taking a couple more questions?
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to keep you any longer than.
Good.
All right. There's a gentleman named Matthew Butler, and he has a pretty good question. Wow, this is a good question. What did you think the first time you saw Jose pull off the backflip on set, which at the time, no one saw anyone doing that. So I would imagine, yeah, that would kind of blow your mind, no?
It was breathtaking. Yeah, I can tell you, nobody'd seen that before. And you can't imagine that it was even possible before you saw it. So, I mean, it's almost funny now, but they would call for complete silence on the set, not just quiet action, but he had to get into his quiet space and he would kneel down. I mean, he would get serious with Mother Mary. I believe he's Catholic, I'm guessing. And everybody would hold that prayer for him. And then he would shoot off into space. And sometimes he made it. Most of the times he did. But it was never a sure thing. And now it's just, we've seen the backflip done by, I was watching a 5-year-old online doing it the other day, so it's not a big deal now. But my gosh, it sure was at the time. It was like the moon launch. Yeah, it was incredible.
All right. There's a gentleman named David. I'm going to call him David D because I don't want to butcher his last name, but he says Lori was super nice to me and was more than happy to sign my items. So
Awesome. Good to hear.
Brant Moore of BMX News, Weekly BMX News, would like to know, what bike are you riding now?
Let's see. I have an Eddie Fiola signature frame that I ride right now. Yeah,
All right.
that's what I style with.
Let's see. There's a gentleman named Kevin Bitts. He says, "Hey Bill, I rode with you in Rad as a background rider until I busted my knee in the second heat. I'm wondering how similar was Texas Hell Track compared to the original?"
I would say about 90 to 95% exact. They changed the angles a little bit, especially on that slow incline up to the gap before the drop in. They just made it slightly more rideable. They changed the angle for the actual wall, the Hell Track wall, made that a little more rideable. But basically, it was the same track.
Okay.
I think the original was built just kind of by the seat of their pants, so they really didn't get all the geometry correct. So they had a chance to make it a little more rideable.
Man, standing up there and looking down, and Jody Donnelly was telling me that the original was even steeper than the Texas one, and the Texas
It
one was no thank you.
was insane, and people went down and they got hurt, and but it was true to the original. And for people who had the heart and the skills, it was pretty amazing.
Okay. There's a gentleman named Michael Thomas wants to know, where is the original bike?
Oh man, well I believe I know where one is, and I really am not at liberty to say, but everything else was either these guys' personal bikes or just taken back by the movie company. So I know of the guy who owns the bike from the movie poster, RL,
Hmm.
the big graphic movie poster bike. I know that's a red line, and I know the guy who owns that, and he paid an amazing amount of money for that. Amazing amount of money for that. Okay, $70,000 is what he paid for that bike. He paid
God
ten
bless.
thousand for the seat. So I can only imagine if I had one or two of there were I think 333 bikes on set, the mongoose. If I had one of those, what that might be worth today, I can only imagine.
A gentleman named Robert Meir wants to know, how fluent of a rider were you before the filming? Which, that's a good
Um,
question.
well, not if you really look closely during the scenes where it's me. It's like I'm pedaling through the girl's yard, and anyway, somebody said, "How could he win Hell Track if he didn't know how to bunny hop a curb?" So the answer is not very well at all, and I just didn't have time really to get up to speed. No pun intended, because I got cast, and the next thing you know, I'm in Canada. So
Mhm.
it takes a while to get your legs under you, and I just didn't have that kind of time. And so, but I appreciate the questions because that means the illusion worked on a level.
All right. What do you want to do? About three more questions?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, let's see here. How much of the Tom McClary wants to know, how much of the original movie gear do you still have? Like, do you have any props from the movie? I'm sure you have something.
I've got I've got nothing. I had the original script for a while, and eventually that disappeared. You know, I don't know. Had I kept the bike, that I would still have it to this day. I'm not a collector of things per se. I've got a little rad collection now because people just send me merchandise and what have you. But no, if I could get in the time machine and go back to that movie set and start picking up bikes and clothes and memorabilia, I was just not of the mindset at the time.
All right.
So yeah, I have nothing in that movie.
A gentleman named Jeff Muganiani. I'm sorry, Jeff, but he just says, thank you for doing this. And I agree. Thank you
Oh
very
yeah,
much for doing this.
no problem.
And let's see, one more. Let's make it a good one. bunch of us from Orange County. Oh, where'd it go? There was a question asking about HB Tuesdays.
Yeah, HB Tuesdays. I remember that. It's my group of guys that we meet down every Tuesday. At least we were doing it before the coronavirus hit. And we go out by the pier and we have a little jam session every Tuesday. And it's just the best group of guys. And we get old school pros and new school pros and kids riding their bikes for the first time. And we get a lot of traffic just from the boardwalk. So I can't wait for us to get back to that thing, because I know for the people involved, we make the best memories out there and make the best friends. So yeah, come check it out.
I went there, I think it was 2 years ago, and Eddie and Martin were riding, and Tricky was there, and Kid was there, and just, it was like an episode of BMX Plus from back in the day right in front of you, and they couldn't be any cooler about interacting with everybody and hanging out.
It's pretty great. And on occasion and kind of often, somebody will walk by or ride by and go, this is like the movie Rad. It would be like, wait a second, come here. So we do get Rad fans through there, and they get to meet some of the riders and myself. So that can be a hoot too. And now it's become a thing. So people will actually come across country or come overseas to be a part of it, so then you really don't want to miss it.
Right. We'll end it with this, because a lot of people have wondered this. JCRSO. First name JC, last name RSO. Would you do a Rad 2? Which is a good question, because you can have Crew Jones's son versus Bart Taylor's son in a race-off, or is any of that been thrown around?
There's a lot of talk thrown around, so I don't know if anything is actually being done in those circles right now. Nothing's being done in show business right now. Mm-hmm. But I believe if you live long enough and you're patient enough, the Rad fans will be satisfied and kind of get fed what they've been hungry for 34 years now. So the answer is there's nothing official going on, but I believe there will be.
Okay. Well, we're 10 minutes over, buddy. And I'm very thankful.
Right, good.
I'm sorry?
We did good.
We did all right. We did great, except for the hiccup at the beginning, and the whole book thing, but I'll fix that, I swear.
Whatever.
No, I really will, I promise. Okay, let's wrap this up. You have websites and places to buy Rad the movie. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Yeah,
the 4K is available for pre-order right now. You go to vinegarsyndrome.com, and I think Rad's just right there on their homepage. And then, like I said, people are really being very generous about buying my book, and very great reviews I'm getting. My Rad Career, you go to myradcareer.com. You can email me through there if you want to have me sign stuff. We can converse through there, or go to myradcareer.com and you can email me directly.
All right.
But I also autograph. You can get some sorts of swag on myradcareer.com.
All right. I will throw links under this video for his book and the movie. I'm getting mealy mouthed. All right. Was there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to touch on?
I already did. Just keep a good attitude, guys, and we're going to get through this. I promise. Go out and ride your bike more.
All right, Bill, it means so much to me and everyone else that with everything going on outside, I don't think anyone here thought about any of their problems the whole time we were talking. And thank you very much for giving us an opportunity.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Just real quick, if there's anything, you are absolutely a friend of the channel. If you have anything to promote, please reach out. I will be the first one to say, let's do it. Sound good?
Oh, there'll be more in the future, I promise.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to thank everybody for watching. Absolutely thank you to Bill Allen. mind blown that this is happening. My hero. Real quick, if you would like to support the channel, you can go to www.OFGBMX.com. We have shirts, we have stickers, we have swag, we have stuff like that. And I'm going to make sure Bill has a little care package in the mail tomorrow morning. And we're going to call it a day. So, Bill, last word.
Let's walk this sucker.
Let's walk this sucker. Peace out, friends. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Bill.
All right.